Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening almost. My name is Hashim Syed. I am an AI go-to-market lead at Google. I'm based in New York, but originally in Pakistan. But I have the privilege and pleasure of working with some of the fastest growing startups across North America, working with founders, really helping them figure out how can we build new businesses, how can they scale their businesses on Gemini. And for me in particular, it's really a special honor to be here. My journey, I'm actually non-technical as well, but I will give you a little bit of a technical talk. I studied politics, philosophy, economics, but I was always kind of curious about the world. And I think a lot of the theme from today really stems from being curious about how the world is changing, what are the new opportunities, what are the areas in which we can add an exceptional new value to that. I started my career at Facebook. I started the UK's first venture capital startup growth program. From there, I was at Microsoft. I did some enterprise sales. I've also been at Google for just over 3 years now across search roles, product roles, sales roles, and so on. I've also been a founder. I've started a couple of different companies, had some success, had some failures, but lots of lessons on the way. So the purpose of today's talk is I want to give you a little bit of a glimpse into how is the world changing and what are the opportunities for all of us in this room. And in particular for me that, Google is really committed to Pakistan. And this is something that, I feel very proud about. For the last 4 weeks, I've been in Pakistan. We've been launching a couple of different initiatives with the partnership of, the Ministry of IT and Tech Desk Leadership Pakistan. Most notably, we've been running an AI fellowship. So I've been across Islamabad, Karachi, and Lahore, working with all of our top companies, looking at, how do we really instill AI solutions in your companies? How do we train all of your employees and people in the ecosystem to be ready to use Gemini, Vertex, Agent Development Kit to really succeed? And most notably, I think for all of us, to the points mentioned earlier, how do we take Pakistan from not just being number 3 on the freelancer market to number 1? How do we 2x the 111 million people who have access to the internet, who are developers, 2x that? How do we double our IT graduates? And in particular, I'm a big fan of what Saad said earlier, which is, this next era is really going to be built on the minds of people who have the wildest imaginations and can communicate that to large language models. And vibe coding is the #1 skill. If you take anything away from today, is go vibe code. Think of the biggest problems that you have. How can you fix it? How can you build something? How can you solve that? And then sell it. And I really mean that, because for so long it was, you need to have access to capital, large teams, but you have everything that you need in here, and at the palm of your fingertips. So it's really an honor for me to be here with you all, and thank you all for the time. So looking forward to getting through today's session. So when I think about some of the questions that I get asked, whether it be with startups and founders in the US, or large enterprises like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, it really stems from these 4 things. And I actually made this with Nano Banana, because I was thinking, what are the questions I get asked? I put it down into a prompt, went to Gemini, and then made that with Nano Banana. And #1 is really around strategy and vision. So when you guys look at this, think about, these are the questions that enterprise leaders are asking around the world, in the UK, in the US, in EMEA. And these are the opportunities that we can tap into, right? So a lot of people are asking, there's a theme of like AI washing. 94% of businesses in the last year have mentioned AI in their investor reports, in their roundtables, but a very small percent of that are actually doing something in AI, and particularly around agentic AI. So when you guys think about what are the solutions that you could be building, go look for those businesses that are building or want to build something in AI but don't know where to start. And what are the workflows that we can tap into? Second is really around ROI and the value check. There's a big theme of AI agents, advanced productivity and efficiency, which they absolutely do. And I'm going to share with you some research and findings that we have from that. But another big question is really around what is the true value of an AI agent? And we need to move away from thinking just around top funnel metrics around efficiency and productivity, really thinking around what are the dollar savings. And with this next shift of agentic AI into autonomous agents, we are moving into an era where AI agents not just save time, but they actually improve business outcomes. And we'll look at a couple of examples together. The third is really around workforce. And this is the existential question almost right now of how is the world changing and what does that mean for employees? So the more we can learn about this technology, apply it to our daily lives, and then transform that into business applications, the more opportunities that we have. And naturally also, data and foundation is going to be a big one. You know, data labeling, looking at structured, unstructured data, how do we apply that into AI models is going to be a massive space for us. But we really are in this agentic shift moment. And what I call by agentic shift is we are now moving from chat to action. The first wave of LLMs was really around defensive. You know, people are building chatbots, they're using RAG, they're retrieving information. But we're now entering this era of looking at the autonomous leap, which is, think about all the workflows that you have in your businesses or the businesses that you want to work with. If you break that workflow down into separate steps, what are the different agents that you can build for each of these steps? And that is the agentic shift. And the definition of an AI agent is really a specialized LLM that has been trained or fine-tuned on a specific set of data alongside inbuilt to custom workflows. And 52% of executives that we are working with state that their organizations using Gen AI are now also leveraging AI agents. So another opportunity to be thinking about is who are the organizations today that have adopted Gen AI? So Gen AI being, let's say, you go to an LLM, you type a prompt, it's going to predict the next word. The agentic era is all about predicting the next action. So start thinking about what are those opportunities. This is a really interesting slide to think about because it really puts a perspective of where the world is at today. So to start with, a lot of organizations today, both startups and enterprise, are actually level 1. And they're still in the chatbot era. So in the chatbot era, they're still thinking about customer service where somebody comes to a customer service agent and says, my flight got canceled. The AI agent, actually an AI assistant to be technically accurate, would then go and retrieve information based on a data set and provide you an answer, which is great, but it's highly passive, and it's actually linear, because if the AI assistant gets into a problem, it has to constantly go back to a human who then has to oversee that and bring that back. Where we are moving in 2025 in particular is the AI agent applications. So these are specialized AI assistants. And I'm very careful with the terminology here. So specialized AI assistants, or some form of AI agents, you start to set goals. So when you set a goal of, let's say, process a refund, or book this flight, or create an image for me, you are defining the goal, you're providing the prompt, you're providing the data and the information to go with it, to allow the agent to start to take autonomous steps on your behalf and execute that goal. The future, and I think what is most exciting, particularly where we are now, is multi-agent workflows, or I think of as multi-agentic systems. So visually map every major organization in the world. I have a vision that every organization in the world will, in some way, shape, or form, have a human organization, and then each human will have a team of AI agents. And every human will be a manager of those AI agents. So as you sit here and think about that, think about what are the AI agents you're working with today, and how can you transpose that into companies? One of the biggest skills, actually, if anyone that looks at job posting, is agentic AI as a job posting has actually grown by 1,000% year over year. And so has forward deployed engineers. Because we no longer just need people to sell the technology, we need people to really sit inside companies, inside startups, inside enterprises, and really look at how do we deploy and activate that technology. And knowing how to use agentic workflows and do agent orchestration is going to be critical to that success. I'll talk about this just briefly, is a little bit about, what are the couple of AI agent use cases in action, customer service and experience. So one of the easiest use cases, if you're a global e-commerce brand or retailer, think about how long your teams are spending, trying to find and answer customer queries. You might be using, again, a bit of RAG to solve for that, but if you use an AI agent that can transpose all of that data, you become much faster and much more efficient in how you deal with customer queries. Coding and software development, I think, is actually a little underrepresented here. And I think it actually will be the main use case for agentic AI, if not artificial general intelligence, going into 2026 and 2027, because that's where you have the most cleanest set of data for AI agents to really be fully autonomous. And we're starting to see that through Cursor, through anti-gravity, and that's going to be a really exciting space for all of us. this, if you take this away, I want you to think about sort of when you are building AI agents, what are some of the blueprints or keys of success you can be looking at? And that's where, that's where we're seeing agentic AI early adopter organizations have put at least 50% of their future AI budget allocated to agents. That signals two things. One, the growing demand for skills, but also the growing demand for opportunities. Another big access point here is the last point of executives from agentic AI early adopter organizations are also more likely to report ROI on all cross-industry agentic AI use cases. If you read into that, that plays into the third point I'm talking about, which was the multi-agent systems. Because what companies are really trying to do now is actually do the visual mapping of sales departments, marketing departments, customer service departments through these AI agentic systems. So again, a really good opportunity for everyone in this room, as we're seeing a good use case of developers really lean into this area. I want to talk a little bit around a couple of different areas that AI is delivering strong ROI and opportunities for startups, but also for the developer ecosystem. To take a step back, who's seen this? Or does anyone know what this is? So this is the most common corporate organizational chart that's used unanimously across the world. And this was actually developed in 1855 by a gentleman who was working for the New York and Erie Railroad Company. And he developed the organizational chart because as the railroad expansion in the US from 50 miles to 500 miles, he realized that I can no longer manage the entire cross-country of railroads. So he developed this organizational chart, which again sits in all of the companies we work for, and you have the vertical split of finance, HR, sales, marketing, and so on. But the trouble is that in this new era of agentic AI, this doesn't actually work because AI agents don't necessarily respect the boundaries of vertical human-led team structures and how we look for information. It's actually, in my view, a bit more like this. And again, I made this with Nano Banana, sort of thinking about what does the future of agentic AI teams look like. And what you can see here is that it starts in the middle. You start with the business outcome. What is the business outcome? The goal for my business is to increase customer lifetime value. Where do I have AI agents? I've got AI agents for performance monitoring and optimization, but I've also got humans designing the creative strategy and applying the real magic of human imagination into that. Then I've got AI agents, let's say, for creative and but again, I've got human orchestrators helping with what do they know about customers, what's happening in the market. And it's a bit more like a circular work wheel. So I want everyone to take this back and think about the companies that they're working for, but also the solutions you're developing today, and thinking about what is the future of agentic AI for your companies, but also for the companies you represent look like, and how can you take a leadership role in redefining all of that? I'm going a bit fast, sorry, as I'm a bit short on time. Couple of quick stats on where business leaders are seeing the most value: productivity, customer experience, business growth, marketing, and security. The bit I really want to get to, this one. There is a new minimum required to compete. And I talked about AI washing at the start, and that's not a strategy. And that's, again, 94% of public B2B companies now mention AI. It's common, it's not the differentiator. The differentiator will be the companies and the individuals in those companies that can look at workflows, identify pain points, identify gaps, and figure out what AI agents can I use off the shelf, let's say from Google, or can I build through vibe coding, through Cursor, through other agentic applications using A2A protocols to inbuild them into companies, and really ensure that I'm adding value. So again, if we think of a global e-commerce brand, a lot of, one of the biggest problems in e-commerce is often humans wasting a lot of time and having to spend a lot of time looking through customer service questions. But if you build an AI agent to work with that human agent, you can actually reduce the average handle time for each query, because the AI agent can work with a human to look through the data, find existing answers, existing questions, and then give that back to the human. For each of us in this room as a human, we need to be working harder and smarter. This is a stat from the US of employees and founders. The average revenue per employee for a US company has jumped from 182,000 to 237,000. I say that not to be intimidating, but I say that I think it's a great opportunity for us to be thinking about where we can add exceptional value. And this is my last slide. Again, sorry, I was a bit short on time. But I leave this with you because the traditional modes of how we've done SaaS company buildings is now broken. For too long, it was raise exceptional amount of capital, burn that capital, spend it on ads, use that to go to market. Now there's a new AI native B2B playbook, and that is, how do you use the capital allocation that you have more efficiently? So as each of you are exceptional, highly developers in this room, students, founders, and building, think about what AI agents you have at your disposal today, or what can you build to improve your sales, to improve your marketing, to improve your go-to-market. I myself, I recently built a scheduling solution. I got tired of people sending me a Calendly link, so I built a WhatsApp AI agent that I send to my friends and my family that people can use to book meetings. It's autonomous AI agent over WhatsApp. So think about different areas in which you can apply these use cases. And the last thing I will say is it's a really incredible time for Pakistan. Like I said at the start, 25,000 new IT grads. A lot of people sitting in this room enter the market every year. 111 million developers. We're the world's third largest IT freelancer market. This is our moment to double it. This is our moment to 2x it. And I'm really excited to work with people in this room, to partner with you guys. Would love to stay connected. And thank you again so much for the time. Thank you to the Lahore Garrison University, and thank you to all of you. Appreciate it. Thank you.